Hey everyone, before we get started, make sure to subscribe to my channel for more captivating stories like this one. The glow from the holiday tree twinkled across the shiny surface of the white Mercedes SUV sitting in my folks' driveway, the newest prize for my sister Bailey. Peering through the glass, I watched her flaunting it to the family gathered inside, gliding her fingers over the plush leather upholstery as our mom glowed with delight. I lingered in my reliable Honda Civic, the vehicle I'd bought outright 5 years back, and glanced at my phone once more prior to heading in. The message was right there. Purchase of Premier Auto Group completed. Well done on the acquisition, Ms. Davis. At 35, I worked as a private equity specialist focused on troubled car-related businesses. My relatives figured I did some vague finance gig they never probed into, since it lacked the thrill of Bailey's role as an Instagram star, complete with 50,000 fans and a constant flow of paid promotions showcasing high-end goods she never bought herself. I entered the home with a simple present in hand. The family room buzzed with kin gazing out at Bailey's fresh ride. Riley, Mom hurried over, wrapping me in an embrace that seemed more dutiful than heartfelt. You're behind schedule. Bailey's unwrapping her holiday surprise now. I noticed. Yet another Mercedes. It's the Geely 450, Bailey chimed in, eyes fixed on her screen as she uploaded pics already. Stepped up from the C-Class. I required more space for all those collab shipments. This marked her third vehicle that year. A BMW back in March, an Audi in July, and the Mercedes for December. Everyone on credit. Everyone with installments my parents truly couldn't manage. Riley, we got to discuss something, Dad mentioned, steering me to the kitchen. Mom trailed behind, and I sensed the impending request. In the kitchen, secluded from the crowd, Dad's cheerful demeanor vanished. We're in need of your assistance. How much this time? Ease up on that attitude, Mom interjected. This involves kin. How much? I pressed again. $4,000. Dad explained the Mercedes installment hits $1,200 each month, and we're still handling the cost for Bailey's other two rides. On top of that, the Audi requires fresh tires. The BMW calls for upkeep. Why are you covering Bailey's vehicles? She's cultivating her image. Mom clarified like it was self-evident. She has to appear prosperous to draw in backers. You don't become an influencer behind the wheel of an ordinary ride. She could secure employment and handle her own autos. Her influencing is employment, Mom retorted protectively. She shares content daily, interacts with her audience. Does it cover $3,600 in monthly auto costs? Quiet ensued. We only require support until her major partnership lands. Dad noted she's negotiating with a big cosmetics company. Once that materializes, she'll manage it all. I'd encountered variations of this tale for 3 years. The huge opportunity forever loomed. The key player always showed interest. In the meantime, my parents bankrolled Bailey's way of life as their nest eggs shrank. How much have you poured into Bailey's autos this year? I inquired. That's beside the point. How much? Dad fidgeted awkwardly. Perhaps $30,000 altogether, but it's a stake in her prospects. $30,000 on installments, coverage, and repairs for cars Bailey operates without contributing. You earn solidly, Mom stated, her tone turning beseeching. What's $4,000 in your world? It's Bailey's holiday gift. Truly? Simply one additional draw from your safety net. My device vibrated. A message from my colleague. Recovery crew en route. ETA 9:45 p.m. I eyed my watch. 8:30 p.m. ample window. Allow me to pose a query. I stated. What salary do you figure I pull in? Unsure. Mom replied, you're in finance. Likely 60 or 70,000. The figure was so distant, it bordered on amusing. And on that guess, you're seeking $4,000 from me. Over half a month's pay. It's not handing over, it's aiding. Dad amended. Kin supports kin. When did you last request Bailey's assistance on a matter? Bailey's circumstances differ. She's creating an enterprise, and I'm not. For the initial occasion, I allowed irritation to surface in my words. You've never inquired about my role. Never. Stopped by my workplace. Never joined any of my firm gatherings. Yet you presume I can bankroll Bailey's existence. Avoid turning this personal. Mom declared, this concerns kin solidarity. It's the holidays. I retrieve my device and access to file. Permit me to reveal this. This logs every monetary plea you've issued over the last 5 years. The tally was thorough. Bailey's initial auto deposit, $8,000. Bailey's second auto deposit, $7,500. Bailey's third auto deposit, $9,000. Ongoing auto installment advances, $43,200. Folks urgent pleas, $28,000. Kin getaways, $15,000. Bailey's housing security / rent, $22,000. Grand total $132,700. Amount returned $0. Mom's complexion drained. You've tracked it all. I've recorded ongoing monetary draining. There's a distinction. That's a harsh view of kin, Dad commented. But his tone lacked conviction. What's harsh is requesting I finance Bailey's third upscale ride this year as I tool around in a 5-year-old Honda. What's harsh is anticipating I'd tap my safety reserves so Bailey can uphold an online facade. Bailey materialized at the entrance. Discussing me? Your folks want me to cover your latest Mercedes. It's not as if you lack the means, Bailey remarked, thumbing her screen. You're in finance. You're wealthy. What exactly is my finance role, Bailey? She glanced up, puzzled by the inquiry. Unsure, crunching figures or whatever. I'm a private equity specialist. I focus on obtaining and revamping car dealerships and funding entities. My present holdings encompass 18 outlets spanning 6 states. The kitchen fell hushed. My individual assets sit around $12 million. My yearly earnings fluctuate, but prior year it reached $2.3 million. Bailey's device slid from her grasp, banging against the floor tiles. 12 million. Dad echoed. The Honda choice. That's deliberate. I discovered long ago that flaunting affluence in this household led to heightened pleas. Thus, I maintained my achievements discreet while you all presumed I scraped by. I accessed another file on my device. This one's especially noteworthy. Bailey, from where did you secure funding for your Mercedes? Premier Auto Group, she murmured softly. They greenlit me regardless of my credit. They greenlit you since you named Mom and Dad as guarantors and supplied doctored earnings proof. The funding overseer flagged in the records that the arrangement was dubious but marginally viable. How are you aware? Mom questioned. Because as of 4 p.m. today, Premier Auto Group belongs to me. I obtained the chain of outlets, encompassing all active credit agreements. The quiet was profound. You acquired the outlet? Bailey breathed. I acquired the full operation, 12 sites, including the one that funded all 3 of your autos. And per the agreements, all 3 rides are presently delinquent. That's not feasible, Dad argued. We've submitted payments. You've submitted incomplete ones. The BMW lags 2 months. The Audi 4 months. The Mercedes got approval with initial due January 5th, but given the track record on the others, it's marked high risk already. I displayed the credit papers. Here's the unknown part. Premier Auto Group was collapsing due to aggressive lending habits, greenlighting folks unable to pay, then gaining from misses and recoveries. I targeted them precisely to overhaul their approach. So, you'll assist us? Mom ventured optimistically. No, I'll uphold the agreements. All 3 rides qualify for recovery under delinquency clauses. My recovery crew is en route. You're recovering your siblings' autos? Bailey's tone rose sharply. On holiday eve, I'll recover rides that were deceitfully funded and stand delinquent. That they're yours is merely happenstance. This is madness, Dad stated. You obtained an outlet solely to seize Bailey's rides. I obtained an outlet as it was a sound venture. That Bailey's deceitful credits fall within the holdings I'm refining is purely coincidental timing. My device vibrated once more. Recovery crew 15 minutes away. You mustn't proceed, Mom pleaded urgently. It's the holidays. Kin doesn't handle kinness. Kin doesn't engage in credit deceit. Kin doesn't fabricate earnings on funding forms. Kin doesn't guarantee rides beyond their means then insist others in the kin cover costs. I returned to the family area where Kin still marveled at the Mercedes via the pane. They shifted as I stepped in. I require all to listen, I announced, accessing the credit papers on my portable and linking to the display. Bailey's Mercedes plus her BMW and Audi were all funded via Premier Auto Group, employing altered earnings data and mom and dad as guarantors. The funding forms filled the screen, marked parts displaying Bailey's asserted earnings of $8,000 monthly, almost triple her true influencer revenue. That's confidential, Bailey yelled. It's deceit evidence, and as Premier Auto Group's fresh proprietor, I'm required by law to tackle it. Aunt Linda, Dad's sibling, bent closer. Bailey asserted $8,000 monthly from Instagram. She pulls perhaps $3,000 in a strong month, I noted. The funding passed on bogus details. All 3 rides are delinquent, and come midnight, recovery commences. You're truly proceeding? Bailey queried, shaming me before everyone. You shamed yourself via deceit. I'm merely applying outcomes. Uncle Tom interjected. Wait a sec, Riley. You mentioned owning 18 outlets. Accurate. Premier Auto marked my most recent obtainment. I've operated in car private equity for 8 years, and you've allowed us to believe you barely managed. Mom inquired. I've safeguarded my holdings from kin viewing me as a dispenser. Each mention of progress prompted monetary asks. Thus, I ceased sharing. I displayed my full asset overview on the display. Car outlet possessions, $8,400,000. Business properties, $2,100,000. Investment holdings, $1,300,000. Liquid funds, $890,000. Overall assets, $12,690,000. The space filled with astonished whispers. $12 million, Bailey uttered. And you operate a Honda and don a tire from Target. Since affluence concerns actual security, not appearances. A lesson you'd grasp if you'd ever generated funds rather than depleting others. Beams from vehicles crossed the family room pane. 2 hefty recovery rigs entered the drive, tailed by a dark SUV. They're arriving, I declared. Bailey dashed to the pane. No, no, no. You mustn't seize my rides. How will I reach collabs? How will I sustain my image? Identically to countless others traveling. Acquire a ride within your budget. 3 uniformed pros neared the entrance. I admitted them, showing my credentials and proprietorship papers. Ms. Davis, we're here for 3 rides tied to Bailey Davis. The head recovery specialist stated, a BMW 5 Series, an Audi Q5, and a Mercedes GLE 450. Bailey, the keys are needed, I said. I won't surrender the keys. They'll haul them regardless. Your call. Assist or observe the attachments. Mom began weeping. Dad glanced between Bailey and me, his expression flushed with fury. This is your kin treatment on holiday eve. This is my deceit treatment, I countered. Bailey engaged in credit deceit with your aid. Now outcomes follow. What of the holidays? Bailey wept. What of kin? What of the $132,000 you've extracted from me across 5 years? What of the safety net you sought to empty tonight? What of viewing me as kin rather than a lender? Bailey hesitantly passed the keys for all 3 rides. The recovery crew operated swiftly, securing them to the rigs, as kin observed in mute shock. As the rigs departed with Bailey's rides, Aunt Linda neared me. Riley, I was unaware of your achievements. Regret we never inquired. Not your blame, but perhaps now you see why I stayed silent. Uncle Tom agreed. Your folks have informed all that Bailey's the achiever, the star with a promising path. All the while, you've constructed a genuine domain. A domain they attempted to sap to support Bailey's illusory one. I added. Post-recovery departure, the holiday event unraveled quickly. Kin offered clumsy farewells and left. In an hour, solely my core kin stayed. What follows? Dad murmured softly. That rests with you. The deceit is recorded. You may collaborate with the revamped outlets mitigation team, possibly evade legal action and arrange a resolution. Or resist, and I'll permit the courts to manage. You'd pursue your kin legally? Mom questioned. You engaged in deceit via my firm's assets. Indeed, I'll pursue if required. I can't fathom your actions, Bailey stated, her star poise utterly broken. Overrides, not overrides. Over prolonged draining. Over ATM treatment. Overseeing you receive, all while offering nil. I grab my jacket. Departing now. You hold 72 hours to reach Premier Auto's legal team and initiate talks. Beyond that, it turns law enforcement. Riley, hold on. Mom summoned. It's holiday eve. Can't we resolve as kin? We ceased kin status when you resolved I was here to sustain Bailey's existence. Now we're merely individuals with lawful and monetary ties. I proceeded to my Honda, the ride I'd selected precisely as it avoided notice or wealth queries. Driving off, I overtook the recovery rigs bound for the lot with Bailey's upscale rides. 3 autos totaling $180,000, none affordable to her. All funded deceitfully. My device sounded. My partner, Marcus. How was it? He queried. As anticipated. Kin collapse, menaces, sobs, standard. You realize this inflicts lasting harm. Harm pre-existed. I merely halted the facade. Still seizing your siblings' rides on holiday eve. That's harsh. She engaged in deceit. I applied outcomes. Timing's regrettable, but not my issue. Valid. Thus, the premier auto overhaul strategy. When for review. Post-holiday. Require a day to unwind from kin tension. You've deserved it. Happy holidays, Riley. Happy holidays, Marcus. 3 months on, I occupied my prime office gazing over the urban landscape. I examined updates from my outlet network. Premier Auto Group was revitalized. No further dubious credits, equitable agreements, legitimate gains. Bailey's 3 upscale rides vanished. Option off. Now she operated a pre-owned Honda Civic, matching mine. She purchased it via earnings from her fresh marketing position. Her Instagram audience dipped to 20,000 post-fake wealth halt. My folks took a resolution. They covered $15,000 against the bogus credits and attended fiscal guidance. Accusations dropped upon cooperation agreement. The kin divided, naturally. Some labeled me harsh. Others, like Aunt Linda and Uncle Tom, subtly backed me and inquired on legitimate ventures. The greatest shift was internal. The remorse once tied to my triumphs evaporated. I no longer viewed kin aid as self-loss. I'd begun seeing someone in my professional network, sharing the holiday eve recovery, awaiting critique. He simply said, well done. Kin duty doesn't entail backing deceit. Then my device alerted. A message from Bailey. Her initial contact since that evening. Riley, actual employment proves tougher than anticipated. Exhausted daily, but grasping true earnings. The advisor revealed mom and dad's expenditures on me. $132,000. Never totaled prior. Insane. Not seeking pardon. I comprehend now. Appearing affluent is an affluence. Liquidating the luxury items bought via your funds. Can't repay fully, but I'll attempt restitution. Bailey. I reviewed it twice, seeking deceit, but detected only sincerity. Perhaps authentic now. I withheld immediate response. Perhaps I would. Or perhaps this sufficed as conclusion. Regardless, I sensed liberation. That holiday eve proved severe, yet essential. Mom pleaded for another installment. Bailey paraded her 3rd ride. I authorized the recovery docs, and at midnight the rides departed. But I acquired superior. My entitlement to exist beyond their dispenser. Kin doesn't demand infinite funds. Affection shouldn't jeopardize your tomorrow. Occasionally the most compassionate step is declining to sustain ruin. By reclaiming the rides, I'd offered Bailey superior. An opportunity for genuine existence. She'd despise me for it. Perhaps one day she'd comprehend. Meanwhile, I'd persist constructing, upholding limits, and selecting reality over fantasy. As I at last recognized the reality, you can't rescue one unwilling to attempt. You can solely cease funding their resistance to shift.